Welcome back to Cooking with Suzanne. I hope everybody is doing well. So we have a beautiful day here up in the Finger Lakes, and I hope the weather is really nice where you are too. We have a birthday coming up in this house, so I thought it was a perfect time to share with you our most popular dessert that we served at the restaurant Suzanne Fine Regional Cuisine. A chocolate dessert, a warm chocolate souffle cake. What I like about this one and what you may really enjoy is the fact that you make them ahead of time, you freeze them, you can keep them in your freezer and bake one off whenever you like. All right, so let's talk about the ingredients. The first thing we need to do is get our chocolate, sugar, and butter melted. So here I have 6 ounces of bittersweet chocolate. You can use semi-sweet, you can use milk chocolate if that's what you prefer. I prefer bittersweet, so that's what I'm using here. So I have 6 ounces. I have 5 ounces of unsalted butter, which I do have a little pot back here in a bowl. I have it on simmering. I have the water simmering. So I'm going to put my butter in, and then I'll add my chocolate to the bowl, because that's the first thing we want to do is get that all melted, and then we can let that cool a little bit. And a half a cup of granulated sugar can also go in here. So you want to get that all melted, and once it's melted, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And in the meantime, we'll talk about our other ingredients. I have these little foil cups that I always used at the restaurant, and I still have a lot of them, so I'm going to use them here today. But if you have these Pyrex custard glass cups, you can use these to make these chocolate cakes, and it works perfectly. So we have 3 large eggs. This is a dessert that you would like to use a mixer, because the mixer really does most of the work for you. So 3 large eggs. And let's just break up these eggs a little bit. Now the reason why you do want to let your chocolate and sugar and butter cool a little bit is because it's going to go into this and into the raw eggs. And if it's too hot, it may curdle your eggs, which you don't want to have happen. You want to make sure that the water is just simmering. And the water should not be touching the bowl either. I only have about 1/2 inch of water in my pot, just enough to basically steam underneath. This is almost completely melted. So I think what I'll do is I'll take it off the heat, bring it over to us, and I can just stir this until the rest is completely melted. So this is completely melted. As you can see, our chocolate is completely melted. I do have my teaspoon of vanilla, which I can, another extract that might be really nice in this cake, I haven't done it, but I think it would be really good, would be coffee extract. And you'd get that coffee flavor in with the chocolate. Okay, so let's talk about our dry ingredients here. Of course, I'm going to pass it through a strainer like I always do. I just have a piece of parchment here and my strainer. And the dry ingredients are 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of unbleached all-purpose flour. Finger Lakes wine flour makes beautiful flour that I think would be wonderful in this warm chocolate cake. It would bring another dimension to the cake. I would think the Cabernet would be a wonderful, and I think that the rule of thumb is it's 1 to 2 tablespoons per cup of flour. So you would probably, for the 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons, if you wanted to try the wine flour, I would try a tablespoon of wine flour to this mix, and it would be great. Okay, so we have all of our flour here. I have 1½ tablespoons of cocoa powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, And I put in about 1/4 teaspoon of salt to also bring out the chocolate flavor. And then just pass it through. So the next thing we want to do is get our chocolate mixed in with our raw eggs. I'll start it on medium, and so just add the chocolate slowly to the raw eggs. I think we've tempered it now. I think it's probably going to be fine. We've gotten the raw egg and chocolate tempered, so we can add the rest of it fairly quickly. Oh, that looks beautiful. Okay. It's very loose. I think you can see, but it's very nicely mixed, very smooth. There we go. So now what we want to do is add our flour in on low. There we go. Now what we want to do is raise this to medium-high, and you can set a timer for about 5 to 7 minutes. I'll set it for 5 minutes and take a look at it. So I'm going to go ahead and raise it to medium-high, and I'll set a timer for 5 minutes. Okay, our 5 minutes is up. So let's go in and take a look at it. So the first thing you want to do is take a rubber spatula and go in and scrape around the sides. And now let's give it just another 10 seconds or so, just to make sure it's well mixed. Okay. All right. Here is our beautiful, beautiful batter. You can see it. There we go. We will let them freeze before we bake one off, so you can see what the cake looks like. I'm just using an ice cream scoop, which I find is the easiest. And so we have 6 here, and just take a little spatula or a spoon, and you just want to smooth out the top, even it out a little bit. Chocolate cakes ready to go. So I'm going to pop this in the freezer. They should take a couple of hours to freeze before we bake one off. Okay, so back to our warm chocolate souffle cakes. I have just taken them out of the freezer, and I'm just going to bake one off for you to see. So I'll just put one into the oven, 400 degrees. I'll take a look at it in about 12 minutes. It'll take anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes. The outside of the cake will be cooked, and the center will still be slightly soft. And that's what I'm going to look for. So we'll see you back here in 12 minutes. Okay, so that took about 14 minutes. You can see how it's cooked around the edges. You can actually see little cracks around the cake, but in the center, it's still quite soft, right there in the center. So hopefully you can see that, but the cake looks nice. It's nice and firm around the edges. So 14 minutes in my oven was perfect. So let me just set this, it's a little hot. Set it aside, and we'll get our plate ready. All I'm going to do is just quickly take it, and whoa, it came right out. Wow, yowza, that was quick. I didn't get a chance. So here we have our cake in the center, and you can serve this with chocolate sauce, caramel sauce, whipped cream. Today I'm going to serve it with ice cream. The cake itself is quite rich, so I find the ice cream, the cold ice cream with the hot cake, to be very satisfying. All right, so I have a little bit of cocoa powder here, and I'm just going to go around my plate, round with a little bit of cocoa powder, and that should do it. Looks good. I'll just use a skewer, make an indentation here, and put a piece of mint that's coming out of our garden, along with a little beautiful little pansy. Okay, and we'll take this, our ice cream, and we will set it, nice big scoop I did here, and here you have your warm chocolate cake. So if you have a birthday celebration this weekend, this might be just the dessert that you're looking for. Enjoy, everyone. See you again soon.